You who believe you know the purpose of your existence, we invite you to awaken. Welcome to the Universal Knowledge of QS. Conference number 2. What is death, what dies, and what doesn't die? The lack of knowledge of death has caused most human beings to fear it and not see death as the final goal or objective of everything. If a person truly understands what death is, they will no longer fear it and will be able to delve into the mysteries of life and death. The reason for living is dying, and we have no other task than this. We are born to die, and we die to be born. If the seed doesn't die, the plant doesn't grow. Death is the end of something. Death liberates in all cases. We have the right to return in 324,000 human physical bodies passing through physical death. All of this will happen mechanically if we do not understand the importance of psychological death, which allows us to achieve the intimate self-realization of the being in one existence. We are seeing that there are 3 types of death, which are closely related to each other, and that one could not be studied without studying the other 2. A. The death of the physical body. B. The second death. C. Psychological death. The death of the physical body. It begins with a state of catalepsy that lasts 72 hours. Where the physical body is apparently dead, but this state can be suspended at any time, so that the dying person would return to the body during this period. During these 72 hours, 3 trials take place as follows. First, judgment. In the first 5 minutes, the disembodied person makes a conscious retrospection of each of his acts in this existence, carefully observing each event of his lived existence. And upon reaching the very instant of his birth, he compares his lived existence with the plan he had for this lived existence. Second trial. This takes place approximately 24 hours later before the Lords of Divine Law. 2 things are taken into account here: the atomic weight of each of the psychological elements, and the number of psychological elements quantity. These psychological elements are then compared with those the dying person had at the end of his previous existence, to see if they increased or decreased in this existence. Third trial, approximately 48 hours later, the soul of the disincarnated person is brought before the tribunal of objective justice. 3 things are judged here: the weight of the good or bad deeds of each of the eyes, acts of existence, the number of times each of these psychological elements manifested in existence, the measure of fire in the spinal cord. At the end of this process, the addition and subtraction of fractions is done, which must determine several things: the karma that this soul will endure in its next existence, and the electro-psychic design of the new personality, if it is entitled to a new existence. After this trial, Anubis, the hierarch of objective justice, orders the angel of death to cut the silver cord of the disembodied person and to free him from his physical body. But the angel of death asks permission from the divine mother of the dying man. If he is authorized, he takes up to 24 hours to cut the silver cord with the death ray. If the mother does not authorize the death ray, the dying person must return to his physical body within 72 hours. Unfortunately, at this time, almost everyone is unaware of these processes, formerly known to all tribes and peoples of the planet, and the dying are buried alive or subjected to autopsy within 72 hours. This would be avoided if people knew the process of death better and were not so afraid of it. With a 72-hour vigil, it could be avoided. Once the angel of death has acted, 3 alternatives open up for the disembodied: that his 108 existences have already ended, and his soul must enter the involution submerged in the planet Earth, from where he will not emerge until he achieves the second death or the liberation of his essence. If their 108 existences have not yet been completed, their soul will be transferred to limbo, where it will await its next body, constantly reflecting on its previous existence. If he worked with the sacred fire and increased his measure, Anubis, the hierarch, will order a vacation in heaven, and the divine mother of the disincarnated will take him Give him strength and instruction so that in his next physical body, this soul will attempt the self-realization of his being. The second death. When one doesn't work on oneself, the psyche or soul is lost at the end of the 108 existences. This soul is taken to the abyss, entering the 9 Dantesque circles, from which it will not emerge until nature disintegrates all the defects created during the various existences. After thousands of years of suffering and decay, when the essence is completely pure, it is liberated from the abyss. This step is called the second death. The essence emerges completely liberated into the light of the sun, where it will restart a new evolution, starting again from the mineral kingdom. Psychological death. This frees us from the constant slavery to our various selves or ways of being. We have millions of psychological defects or sins that manifest themselves in our daily lives and permanently drain our energies unnecessarily. There are defects of all kinds: anger, impatience, irritability, greed, ambition, worry, deception, lie, fear, jealousy, lust, fornication, adultery, vanity, conceit, self-love, self-regard, self-sympathy, suffering, pride, ill will, discouragement, disgust, repugnance, laziness, idleness, curiosity, theft, trap, dream, begging, waste, alcoholism, drug addiction, degeneration, gluttony, envy, etc. As the poet from Mantua said, even if we had a pallet of steel and 1,000 tongues, we would not be able to enumerate them completely. Each of these psychological defects traps a small portion of our consciousness, which is what gives it life. When a psychological defect dies, the trapped spark or consciousness, which is the real part of it, is released. If one psychological defect can be eliminated, all defects can be eliminated. If we can free one spark from the darkness, we can free them all. It is demonstrated that with death, death is killed for eternity. If we free ourselves from all our psychological defects, we will have recovered our full consciousness and integrated our own being, achieving sacred individuality. This is why we say that the reason for living is dying. Practice of psychological death. Discover a defect through self-observation. Judge it with reflection until you understand it, and eliminate it by begging the Divine Mother to kill it. Example: I'm walking down the street and see a beautiful woman. I observe an unmistakable sensation in my sexual center. I discover attraction in my instinctive center. I feel in love in my emotional center. I idealize her in my intellectual center. And I observe the commands my selves give me in my motor center. This is self-observation. Reflection: what does this self want? Why does it torment me? What is this suggesting I do? Understandings: I am fornicating in all the centers with every person I like. The defect is controlling me. I forget myself, I identify myself, and my conscience falls asleep. Elimination: for each detail that I have observed and become aware of, I ask the particular Divine Mother to eliminate the desire I am feeling in each center. This process can be repeated throughout the day for each detail that is discovered. What dies? The physical body, the vital body, and the personality are the parts that die at the end of an existence. What does not die? The essence or consciousness of each person is immortal. It is the only real and true part of us. It never dies. It is the part of God in each one of us. The psychological elements in which our essence or consciousness is trapped return from existence to existence and are strengthened in each one. It is important to understand that with the death of the physical body, psychological defects do not die. They are trapped by the seminal sheath and transferred to the new body until the completion of the 108 existences. If we do not voluntarily eliminate them, they will ultimately disintegrate into the abyss when the second death is complete. To start the free course or watch the next conference, visit us at qsuniversalknowledge.com and follow us on our social media. See you soon.